We've got Veronica Gwaze, we've got Semida now, we've got 33, and David Sengu. So yeah, it's an enlarged squad. The Warriors released the 53, now it's a 56, no? And two more players, 58. Yeah, number keeps going, but it's not like we're chasing the Warriors, but we've got a big squad here at the couch. So this is the couch squad for today, and our focus is on the 2025 Kasolaga Premier Soccer League as we just do a post-mortem of the whole season. What happened? We know Scotland won the league championship, their first time ever in their first season in the top flight. We had teams like Green Fuel bidding farewell to the top flight league, Bikita, Minerals Yada, and Kwekwe United. So yeah, so we're going to talk about all things in between, who did what, and the soccer stars. We're also going to put them in there. So it's just going full on the 2025 season that was, and yeah, it's a whole shebang of the 2025 Kasolaga Premier Soccer League season. My name is Howard Msonza. Yeah, it's great to have you, Sammy.
It's good to be here, Howard. It's
good to be here. Yes. Yeah, because many times you'll be shouting things in our ears. Say this. So today we want to hear all that. Veronica, it's always good to have you here. I know 2025 was a good year in terms of football because we saw the quality. It was a bit different. If you were to sum it up, just one phrase, what would you say?
It was a season full of excitement, passion, pain. Yeah.
I want to hear more about the pay. Tadi is also here. Just briefly, just in one phrase, how was the season 2025?
I want to sum it up.
With one word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pound setting.
Wow. Okay. David, for you?
Nah, it was highs and lows. Remember I started at Caps United, and when we left, that was the lowest part of 2025, but the highest is getting a CAF B diploma.
But this is not about you.
That's the highest for me.
Coach Tisombo.
Because I know there's a lot of movement, eh? we saw a lot of coaches moving around. Yeah, he's trying to. He's raising his hand. Did you pano?
I think he deserves it. He's a Cape United legend. One woman, he's a Cape United legend. He captained that team.
That team and the young Warriors as well, yeah.
2004, 2005. Man, it was good.
And remember, he was chief scout for Cape United.
For Cape United, yeah. When the season started. Yes. No wonder why he started with the highs and the lows.
No, I started with the lows. And then I went to the highs.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's the couch squad. They will attack and defend in unison. Yeah, so yeah, let's take a look at the trending stories for today. In our first story, the Minister of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Anselm Sanyatwe, has called for the Warriors to remain united as they prepare to take part in the Africa Cup of Nations finals later this year. Minister Sanyatwe called on the Warriors to play with pride as they have been honored to represent Zimbabwe.
You have earned the honor of putting on the Warriors jersey. The honor, if I am to repeat, is sacred. The honor, if I am to repeat, is very great. The honor, if I am to repeat, is to be respected. It demands discipline from you all. It demands humility. It demands unity of purpose. Unity, and the unity. And above all, total professionalism.
So that's the Minister for Sport. This was when he visited the Warriors, who are busy with preparations for the Africa Cup of Nations. So ahead of the continental showpiece slated for Morocco, Minister Sanyatwe called on the Warriors to pull in the same direction as they carry the weight of the whole nation on their shoulders.
The Africa Cup of Nations, Africa, is not just another tournament. It is a global stage where discipline outweighs talent, where sacrifice beats ego, and where unity triumphs over individuals' brilliancy. And one mission for you as warriors is a clear and a distinct win for Zimbabwe. Respect the badge. And you know what badge means? Raise Zimbabwean flag very high, even to greater heights. You are our ambassadors in Morocco. The nation stands behind you. The government of Zimbabwe stands behind you. Ladies and gentlemen, go to Morocco with courage.
So yeah, that's the retired Lieutenant General. He's the Minister of Sport, Anselm Sanyatwe. One message that he was just preaching to the Warriors is a message of unity. You know, when you do things in unison, united, as a united front, you surely go further. So it's an important message here, Teddy. However you want to look at it, you know, a house that's not united is a house divided, and that house will not go anywhere.
Yeah, it's quite a challenge. Chibuku Warriors, because you know what, we are slowly becoming somewhat of a mediocre squad. Every time we are going to the AFCON, people are just going there as if they are going for a holiday, but without respecting actually the badge. So he was emphasizing on the need for them to respect the badge. This time around, we just need that warrior heart kuti tikwanise kuenda pa next stage. Otherwise, pasine zvezvo zviri nani kusaenda ku AFCON kwacho, because hatingangoenda ku AFCON every time. Kungonzi vari mugroup yakati wangorohwa wodzoka, vari mugroup yakati worohwa wodzoka. So ndinoagreea na Lieutenant General Swangu achitaura retired.
May the real warriors stand up and be counted. So there's been a story, Vero, that has been doing the rounds. I think it started some 2 days ago from the Warriors enlarged squad. We saw a number of players being said, this one is injured, this one has been injured, but it generated a lot of talk on our socials, not only our socials, but socials in Zimbabwe in general. People have been talking about that because I think when the first player was, when the first set of players, 3 of them were announced, we then saw some, I think it was a low jibe, you know, to whoever had said that, because one player said 1,000% fit, but they were declared unfit in the Warriors setup. What's going on? I know you've been keeping tabs on the Warriors setup. What's been going on?
You know, Howard, I think this is one story that obviously was going to invoke mixed feelings out there, us included as the media, because look, the season is just ending. Players are bound to have picked injuries along the way. Some of the injuries that you, as a player, feel that you have recovered, and yet you haven't really been certified. Remember, all our teams have got medical teams, but how effective are those medical teams? And you know, sometimes we even have a situation whereby a player gets injured, and yet we have got a so-called medical team in Ngeri Popa Club. So I think that some of these injuries, there are deep-seated injuries dzekuti player haasi kutoziva kuti that injury yandakamboita haina kuhila, or I picked an injury somewhere, but because you don't have the effective medical structures within your team, haatopikwe ma-injuries ayai. Sometimes you go out on, unotomboita out maybe for some weeks, which means you're on injury, and then you recover, you come back. But usiri kuti waziva kuti hauna kunyatso recover 100%, but just because you don't feel the pain, you think that you have fully recovered. But also...
So I'm going to press on just on that.
Yes.
Because here we are basing all this on what Walter Mson had said, 1,000% fit. And you look at, medical teams within the teams, from where Walter Mson comes from Scotland. I'm sure they've got, probably the best in the league. Nicholas Mnyonga, we all know his history. Are you saying they missed something? Yeah.
In as much as they've got the best, but I'll take you back. I don't want to throw someone under the bus here,
okay,
but let me be honest with you. There is a player who picked an injury in that same club. That player has been up and down. Achizvirapisa ega at some cases, in some instances. At some point, achitoita reach out to the club. Kuti kondoita sei, oudzwa kunzi, go and see Ningi. Anoenda kunoita see Ningi. Then they are told excuses after excuses until he decided to rapise ndega. So, trukuti, are the structures really working there?
Maybe the medical team picked up what was wrong with this player, because Orapisao is a totally different issue.
I wouldn't know. But then also, coming back to the flip side of the story, I think every player deserves to know their medical record. Kana muchinondita MRI scan. Let's go and let's agree kuti we are doing this. Show me the results so that and ndine my hard feelings. Because for a player, a professional player, to go on social media and then say and 1,000% fit, it says a lot in itself. Just reading between the lines tells you a story. So I think as a player, as a professional player, I'm entitled kuti ndione those results. And then the medical team yaita matests iwayo, you only explain what really is happening so that I get to understand the situation.
My issues iwayo anditi player inofana kubva ku club kwavo anditi ane ma results ake kana akakuwara adedzwa kupi ku national team, anobva ane ma results ake kana akanoitwa scania oenda nawo kupi ku national team, onoradza ma team doctors vanofonerana nema national team doctors. And for example, inini I had an injury 2003 knee over the weekend, but I was called to the national team to report for duty. I had to go and get assessed as well nema national team doctors, and ndo vakatozoti no, you will not participate but you will be here in camp. Tichimuita se tichimumonitor ozonoitwa scan kana aita se kana gumbo rake raserera. And so they were in touch. It was Nick Mnyonga and Lloyd Maunga, who was the physiotherapist, and Dr. Sachkonyi, who was a doctor at Cape United. So very three kudaro, they communicated. And so in situation E, you go to a player who's a Buddha with 1,000% fit. And issue report they kungoti one of kungonzwisisana kuti ku national team and hakuna player iri employed ikoko. Ma players are employed kupi kuma clubs kwavo. So vanobva nema results whatever chaanenge ainacho, and anobva nacho ku club kwake achienda nacho ku national team. So if doctors ku national team deemed you not fit to be part of the squad, ndo vanozotaura vachiudza ma coaches kuti no, he is not fit because of ABCD.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is nothing amiss here.
There's nothing amiss.
There is something.
No, ini chatungotaura zvangu ndechekuti the player akaita zvisiri kuzoenda on social media now.
Okay, let's hear from Sam.
Diva just said the player takes their own results to the national team. I don't think that should be the player's responsibility.
No.
The whole communication system should go from the doctors to the doctors.
Yeah, that's what
yes,
I'm saying,
the player should be aware, but because he doesn't know, maybe he doesn't know, he may be 999% fit because he doesn't know. But it's not his job to then take the results with him to the national team.
No, I'm not saying kuti anoatakura ndiye, but ndikuti nini unotobva kupi ku club because wadedzwa ku national team, and you unotoenda ku national team, and if the doctors vaka-communicate and kuti no, David Sengu is injured, yes. And but muite sei mumonitei, and muona kuti injury yake iri kuita kuti aramba ari mukempe or not. and so it's about the doctors. Apa ndangotaura hangu in a way yekuti player anobva kuclub kwakachienda national team.
And remember, even kuma clubs, some of these players anenge achitonyatsoziva kuti ndakakuvara, but they keep on playing. Ma situations mangane kuti tunotoona player tukufila yatutoona kuti munhu ari kulimpa kauyo, but they are never out achinzi ari on injury. So I think that sync between the national team and the doctors ekuma clubs should really be something chekuti chinoramba chiri that intact.
I feel like now we are now wading into what we're supposed to be talking about. We'll continue. We've got 2 more stories to talk about, and one of them is FC Platinum have settled for Joe Lupahla as their preferred candidate to take over the head coaching role from Norman Mapeza after to end weeks of speculation following Norman Mapeza's departure. Lupahla, who impressed many by guiding Simba Bora to a commendable third-place finish in the recently concluded 2025 Premier Soccer League season, now steps into one of the most hot seats and demanding technical jobs in the land. We know, Semi, what Mapeza did at FC Platinum.
Yeah.
You know, for the 10 years that he was there, we know the number of trophies that he lifted, the league championships that he took. And for Lupahla to step in there, he has to fill some big shoes. With what you saw, what he did with Simba Bora, both on the local front and in the CAF Champions League preliminaries, is it the right candidate to take over? Will you be able to lift FC Platinum? Because this 2025 season was by far their worst season from the time that they got into the top flight.
I feel like if he's, I don't know. I think he's stepping into a legend's shoes. And Mapeza was there for so many years. And even though he achieved so much with Simba, I feel as if this is a massive, he jumped a few steps. But I feel as if maybe the Minister of Sport needs to go and preach unity into the FCP camp as well, because they need to be accepting of the new system, the new culture that's going to come with Joe. He's much calmer, he's quieter, he's got a different playing philosophy to Norman. So maybe it's something new. Maybe he might fit into the shoes.
Well, what do you think? Talk to us. We're all over social media. Joe Lupahla taking over at FC Platinum. Is it the right move for him? He's a young coach who's learning the ropes. Not really, because he finished the full season with Simba Bora. He's been assistant. He was assistant at Highlanders, assistant at Dynamos. Then he took over the big job at Simba Bora. Now he's at FC Platinum. Will he be able to revitalize that side, to bring them back to where they were? And in our last trending story. So this past weekend, Tadi, you were at the Gibo Stadium, and there was chaos at the beginning of that Chibuku final. It was delayed by over 20 minutes because there was an issue to do with the balls, you know. Okay, let me say it the right way. There was an issue to do with the match balls, with the match balls, because Dynamos were saying, look, this is a cup final. Nobody is really at home, you know, so let's share. We bring our 5 match balls. Triangle also brings in 5 match balls. But Triangle was saying, no, our name was first out of the head. We are the home side. Besides, the Gibo is our home ground. So we are, technically we're at home. We are supposed to provide the match balls. And the haggling continued like that. Then there was something again. Triangle said, okay, we are set to the 5-5, but we are going to start with our ball. Right. I don't know what was happening with the balls, but I just know it delayed the kickoff. But yeah, we then saw, you know, a great final, a great goal that was scored by Inacio Pereso Jr. But the PSO said, okay, you did what you did. Now we are summoning the Dynamo's technical team to a disciplinary hearing. Right? They need to answer to whatever chaos that happened. So the coach, Kelvin Kayindu, assistant coaches Thomas Ruzive, Tekshua Chinyama, as well as their strength and conditioning coach Tulani Munzambwa, they've been asked to come for a disciplinary hearing.
Yeah, Howard, what I saw over the weekend at Gibo was totally unbelievable. It was so sad, a bad advertisement of our game that was quite unprofessional from Dynamos, not from Triangle, because surely bora rinodhilewa ne-21 minutes just because tikutaura nenyaya yema-match balls. And I saw a lot of guys from PSL trying to address the Dynamo setup, and there was shoving and pushing ipo bye, but Triangle vakarangoramba vari calm. So I think that was very professional from Dynamos, and vanofana kuiswa pasi peshamo. But after the chaos, we actually witnessed one of the best Chibuku Super Cup finals in years. 2018 pakambotambwa bhora ikoko kwefinal, Recit versus Triangle. It was good, but this one was quite massive, especially with the goal adding to the spice.
Yeah, it was fit to win any final, any day.
Yeah, but otherwise, zvakaitwa neDynamos zvakadhakwa.
Okay. So yeah, so the technical team from Dynamos have been summoned by the Premier Soccer League to appear before a disciplinary committee to answer to that issue to do with the delay of that final. So yeah, we're also going to touch on the Chibuku Super Cup because it's part of the 2025 season, because that's what we are focusing on today's edition of The Couch, as we uncover the season that was 2025 in studio. It's a full bench. The Couch squad is here in full force. Veronica, Semi, Tadi, and Diva. They are all here. Coach Diva. Coach who? Coach Disombo.
Coach Disombo.
Coach Disombo. So yeah, that's the team that's going to be discussing whatever happened. The highs, the lows, everything in between, and because that's what we are looking at today on The Couch. Stay with us right here on The Couch.
In a world where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime. If you want to be part of the show, talk to us. We're all over social media at ZTN Prime, #The Couch. Let's discuss the 2025 Casolaga Premier Soccer League season. It finished last weekend with the Chibuku Super Cup. That was won by Dynamos, achieving that three-peat, first team to win it on 3 different occasions on the trot. Yeah, that's Dynamos for you. Now slowly replacing a team that we used to know as the Cup Kings of Zimbabwe football. So ironic, eh? You look at the rivalry between Caps and Dynamos. But yeah, that's the story of Dynamos. So that's what we're going to be discussing as we uncover the 2025 Casolaga Premier Soccer League, with a lot that happened in the season that was won by Maviravira. So yeah, talk to us, and let's see how far we can go. So, yeah, the 2025 season was defined by dramatic coaching changes and the emergence of standout players, clubs across the league. So a flurry of managerial sackings, with some teams going through multiple coaches, teams like Dynamos, Highlanders, Kwekwe as well. So amidst the turbulence on the touchline, several players rose to prominence, showcasing their talents, the consistency and leadership. We also saw a lot, some players who had never played in the Premiership before, like Knowledge Msona. Remember when he left Zimbabwe to go to South Africa, he never played in the top flight, but he came back. He was unveiled by Scotland. So a lot of, first in the league, Scotland winning, Knowledge Msona coming through. Also, I think he got 2 goals this season. And there were a lot of things. Kwekwe getting relegated, I think the lowest number of points in so many years. And we also saw them missing some games. So this is what also happened. But I'm going to start with you, Semi. Because at the top of the show, I was asking just a phrase. But when you look at the whole season, what did you think? What do you think of the 2025 season?
I think that
maybe let's start here. Who were the biggest winners for you, 2025?
The biggest winners for me were the teams that got promoted, Moors and Scotland, mostly. So, yeah, then the season for me, I would use one word like Tad, it was chaotic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Chaotic.
Yes.
Maybe just zoom us into the chaos.
Okay, the chaos in the sense that the traditional giants weren't doing as good as we thought they would be, or is what we were used to. Then we had teams that got promoted, topping the league. We had Moors playing so well. We had Scotland. Then we had Kwekwe just doing Kwekwe things. There wasn't much balance in the whole season. So, yeah.
For you, Vero, let's look at the teams that got demoted from the top flight. Kwekwe doing their Kwekwe things. I don't know. They're from the city of gold, and I thought, probably they were golden in some sense. But look, they waved goodbye to the top flight. So Kwekwe, Bikita, Greenfield, and the other. Just take us through those. What did they do wrong?
Yeah, I think I actually sympathize with Kwekwe United, standing from the viewpoint of players. Remember when the season started, we had the likes of na Allen Gadzikwa and Dennis Dauda popping up at Kwekwe United. Obviously, these are guys who have been in the PSO before, and their experience was going to count for the Kwekwe side. But then, unfortunately, it feels sad for the players when you then have a paymaster who doesn't really consider you. I feel like Phil Makekera, he couldn't really make the proper decision, which would have benefited the players, and they would have had football winning at the end of the day. So if you then look back, you realize that it had to be the players and the coaches who suffered in the end. First of all, you are a new team in the PSO, you then get relegated. You don't want your name to be associated with getting a team relegated in their first season. Secondly, you don't want your name dragged in the mud for maybe instigating industrial action as my senior players, and this is how the likes of Dennis Dauda exited Kwekwe United, because they were being implicated as the instigators of industrial action and inciting the youngsters. So I really sympathize with the players who at some point found themselves at Kwekwe United. And then looking at Bikita, I think it's an issue of priorities. Bikita are backed by a mine that has got the finances. If they were willing to fund that club, I'm sure that Bikita would have been still in the PSO right now. Remember, last season they assembled a 4-plate stove that eventually got dismantled because they were not being remunerated. And this season, Wilson Mtekede to go out of his way again to try and assemble something that he felt could have given him the results. But because the boys were still being not remunerated, obviously they're not going to give it their all. And with demotivation, results are not going to come. Then going to Yada, I think their preparation, starting from their preparation, things were just not okay this season. Remember, they started the season with a transfer ban. They couldn't register players. Then later on, they did get players who came on loan from Scotland. But I think there was a bit of instability behind the scenes. Look at the hiring and firing of coaches this season, the changing of that technical team. Because when you look at their team sheet, they've got very big, weighty names. You look at King Nadolo, you look at Innocent Mcheneka, Evans Rusike, Tafadzwa was largely out due to injury. But you look at Timon Mvula, you look at even Fernando and how much he had done this season. The youngster, Anotidaishe Gwatizo, but things were just not working out. They couldn't really be a component. And then there were also issues coming out about the chaotic camps that they were periodically holding throughout the season. Things were not just okay for them. So I think that backroom chaos cascaded onto the pitch and everything just went down just like that. And then when it comes to Greenfield, honestly, I don't know where they got it wrong. They got the players, they've got the finances. So I really don't know what went wrong with them.
David, I know she touched on, the wow, for some, maybe not so disappointing, but it's largely a disappointing story. For you, what stands out probably is the most disappointing story out of the 2025 season?
Yeah, I was disappointed with the big three. I thought maybe, 2024, yeah, it was a much better season for the big three because they were not floating in the relegation zone last season. But this season, even if you look at the way they started, the three of them, I think Highlanders were at a much better position, when they started until the mid-season. Then you look at Dynamos and Caps. Yes, I was there at Caps United as the chief scout, but the results were not coming, Howard. Up until, they had to change the coach, bring in Ian Bakala, who managed to survive relegation. But ever since I started playing football, I've never seen Caps United floating in the relegation zone. Dynamos, I think, at once, which was in 2005. Yeah, and then Mablanyo, I think he survived relegation in 2018, 2019 as well, with Dynamos. You never experienced that. You always want those big three to be on top, challenging for the title. But this season, they never, came to the party. And it was Moors, Scotland, Simba Bora, up there. Ngezi Platinum Stars, they started slowly as usual, tried to push those teams. But I was never convinced with the big three. With the way Dynamos floated from relegation, imagine up to game 5 or 6 without even a win. Something that never happened in the Dynamos history. But it happened this year. That's why you find they had to survive relegation on the last day. Something that I myself never witnessed. Even 2005, I never witnessed that, but I had to read because I was away. But then you look at Gorine Rawat, the way they started, you look at the disaster that struck Dynamos. All the senior players, almost like 90% of the senior players left. And then Mablanyo had to go for trials. A big club like Dynamos going for trials. When you track my players, to me, that's a total disaster of the season in English Theatre Pamperpeng. Because kuma trials award, you never get the best players. My players, yes, are not going to border. One of just sign nema teams are financially, stable. So the moment you start doing my trials, mnemchwana half baked, vanoku impress there and there. But when the season starts now, that's when you see the true colors of those players. Vanenga story chavo a big club like Dynamos. My players. Highlanders, they started on a ban as well, like Yada. They started on a ban, and Kayinde had almost like 19 players. And Kuti Vasumuke, Monosumuka say, when you've got only 19 players, you also want to have 25 to 30 players. Large pool of players, but Muripa ban, amuite sei amuzvikwanise because vangasinobhadhara Maria Brito, their former coach. So those are the things that you need to look into. The traditional giants, to be honest, vakaramba vachiita mushandiro wavari kuita izvezvi. Remember, there are new kids on the block. Simba Bora, Scotland, Moors, Hard Rock is coming in, and these are new kids on the block. So those big teams, they also need to join those guys in terms of mashandiro ava vanoita zvokuramba vachizviti ma-community teams izvozvo doesn't work anymore.
Let's bring in Tadi into that discussion as well, because at the beginning of the season we saw it was Caps that struggled first. They were hovering in the relegation zone, and people were throwing jocks left, right, and center. Then they were quickly joined by Dynamos. Before we know it, Highlanders were also there, and we started seeing Caps, going up. But I think mid-season I was trying to think, okay, what kind of a PSL are we going to have without Dynamos, Caps, and Highlanders? What do they need to do? Because this was just, some telltale signs of things that may come. And we saw it right onto the very last day that this can be a possibility.
Okay, firstly, let me start by dispelling what David said about Dynamos, Caps United, Highlanders having gone nearer to being demoted. Dynamos 2005, they were almost relegated. 2018, they were also almost relegated. Then Caps United in 2008, they had to survive relegation on the very last day of the season. They needed to win by 4 goals against the Highlanders, and somehow, don't even know how it happened. Caps United won by 4 at Gonzara Stadium. That was back in 2008. So it's not like the first time these guys have struggled. Then I think they need to really pull up their socks, not just in the field of play, but in the manner in which their administrations run about the business. Because football is now business. If you ask Simba Bora, for argument's sake, last season when Simba Bora won the league title, of course they were given, was it 70,000 from the PSL, but that team made a profit. Why? Because they had sponsors all over. They had fuel sponsors, accommodation sponsors, you name it, bonuses, everything. So this is what Dynamos, Highlanders and Caps United should be looking at. So I think chavanofana kuita ku employ the right people in the right positions. Munhu anoita marketing, otonyatsoita marketing, not kuti because David Sengu played for Caps United, so ndiye anofanira kuita marketing manager. Bhora ratochinja izvozvo zvaratoizvozvo ndozvaratove zvekutoti pamberi apo makazviona nescotland yatoni nemafans mozinawo mafans community yese inotoni kwesewo and zvichachinja ndomachinjira azvatoita. So they need to rethink and to re-strategize, otherwise zvekunzi ma-traditional giants zvazvo zvinogona kunge zvatopera.
So how is the club licensing, is it helping with regards to that? Because I thought it also, props up teams, placing people where they're supposed to and putting the right structures in a team.
Right, issue of club licensing, tichitarisa all the 5 pillars, tichitarisa the way we are doing our business, isusu is Zimbabwe, is the Premier Soccer League. Tirikuzovewo here and there we are being lenient, otherwise tikanyasoda ku-enforce all the 5 pillars, the club licensing dzese matimu edu ese ari 18 hapana iri compliant ipapo. So I think tinofanira kutoita ma-workshops as PSL, ZIFA nema-clubs tichionesana kuti guys tikave compliant palegal, tikave compliant pafinance, pa-administration, pa-infrastructure nepa-legal, tinosvika papo because zvinobatsira bhora redu, even competitiveness, then even quality zvinokwanisa kutibatsira. So nyaya club licensing yakakosha zvisingaiti, but hatisi kuimplementa zvainofanira kunyatsoitwa chaizvo. Tirongonoita kujobera kuti totodhira nemagrounds, totoita zvemagrounds chete, but then hapana zvatombonyanyota because ukatarisa structure yeDynamos, yeHighlanders, yeCaps, hapana na one structure iri compliant ipapo in terms of club licensing. Hapana.
You're watching The Couch Watch on ZTN Prime, and our focus today is on the 2025 Kasolaga Premier Soccer League season. It just ended last weekend with the Chibuku Super Cup. So yeah, we're doing a post-mortem and see who did what in the season that was. Semi, so we were talking about the old order. And, well, the phrase that we are so used to, traditional giants. But there is new money that came into the PSL. And we saw, I think even from last season, Simba Bora rising second season only in the Premiership, and they took the big one. Now, this season we had Moors. They dominated for the larger part of the first half of the season, and they were top, and people thought, okay, this is the team to beat. But somehow they lost form at a very crucial stage. Then came Scotland, went above everybody, and they won it. So this is the new money that I'm talking about. Scotland, Moors, their rivalry in Division 1. Fortuitously, they both found themselves in the top flight, and they finished first and second. What did they do differently than all the other teams?
They focused on, I think they tried to create structures, like Teddy was saying. There was visible structures and visible elements within the teams. You could see that they've got an admin structure, a marketing structure that were set in specifically for that. And the teams, I'm not sure about the camps because I wouldn't be there, but we never had any complaints about the players not being in camp, the players not being paid on time, the players not getting their bonuses. I think they had specific people, the right people in the right places. Then also, I'm sure they researched from other teams out there because they started doing things that were different to what we had been used to. We had normalized the abnormal and knowing, like what Ted was saying, that even club licensing is not as proper as it should be. So these teams, you would see everything they were doing, it seemed intentional. And it seemed as if they were comparing themselves to the bigger teams out there rather than saying, I'm Yada, so I'm going to model on Dynamos, which is doing things wrong in the first place.
Vero, just to add on to probably what Semi touched on, you know, being adventurous and being forward thinking like the way they were, because their benchmark, I don't think it was really what was going on here. They never came in and said, okay, we want to be like Dynamos, but they had bigger ambitions. But between Scotland and Moors, I would, this is my personal opinion. One of them what? And we would hear insane amounts of money being thrown around just to motivate the team to win. And I remember there were games that were played, I think it was the first leg between them at Ngoni Stadium, there was a lot of money on the table, especially for Scotland. You know, the bonuses were just insane. Can money buy you results?
I think when I go back to Scotland coming into the PSL and in their maiden season winning the championship, go back to Simba Bora winning the championship in their second season, and you can draw similarities in the manner in which the two clubs did business in the past 2 seasons. So in that regard, I think, yes, money can buy you results. But then, for how long is it going to give you the results? Are you going to continue pumping out money? But then, just like Semi said, that when you look at the manner in which the two clubs did things, it shows that they've got a plan. You look at Scotland, how many replicas have they sold this season? They introduced the membership facility. They have got a number of sponsors who have been coming on board. How have they been managing that? So I'm looking at a club which, if they continue in that trajectory, even if today Honorable Scott is bankrupt, those structures can continue to keep the club going.
Are you sure?
It depends on...
Are their structures that solid?
That's why I said it all depends on how solid those structures are. Because when you look at...
do you think they are solid?
I wouldn't really know that much because I personally sent an inquiry last week trying to figure out how many replicas they sold this season, the profit they made, how many members they managed to recruit through their membership facility, and how it actually benefits the club and the members. I still haven't gotten results. I still haven't gotten the responses. So at least if I got those responses, I would be able to understand how sustainable that plan is. But I think the major issue here is, let's be honest, football is business. If you don't create the structures that are going to give you the major return, the returns that you expect, even when you set your apparel shop today, then you are not going anywhere. Because even the sponsors, at some point, they will get fed up and they will turn their backs on you. So you need to create a sustainable structure that's going to keep you running in the future.
Tadi, sustainable structure. From what Vero is saying, is there a team that's got a sustainable structure? You know, a structure that can keep, you know, a team, can oil a team, and they can go on and on basing on just a good structure?
Unfortunately, not in Zimbabwe. All the 18 clubs, my structures are maybe safe for Scotland. Because Scotland and Oyega, in a sports shop, yechokwadi ndo chete team iri appealing zvaizvozvizvo mamwe ma-teams unfortunately, however they are trying, but unfortunately my structures are they are not that sustainable.
But talk to us about Moors, because from someone who's looking from afar, I thought they were a bit stable. How are their structures?
Yeah, obviously, because they are backed by a gambling company, if I may say, because gambling is kurira. So my relegation go way. So I'm not sure about when chinja broker gambling. You just never know. It's life. Also gambling urambe chibvumizwe kuti irambe associate nebhora gambling companies anga achiona team yeche yebhora uzozive, but as it stands it's fine, but I don't think that it's sustainable. Scotland.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to circle back to the issue of if money can buy you, well, I'd said results, let's just say good results. Yeah. So I see stable teams like Tel One. Yeah. I see a stable team like Chicken Inn. But I'm going to pick on Chicken Inn for this particular reason. They were also fighting relegation. Right. So they are not in the same breath as your Highlanders, your Dynamos, in terms of ownership, because they've got a solid financial backing. But what was so wrong at Chicken Inn that Joey Antipas spent almost the entire season saying, okay, if we survive, if we survive. What was so wrong at Chicken Inn?
I think there is so much behind the scenes that we won't know, especially when it comes to money and stability, because there could be interference from the backers of the team. Maybe they weren't pumping out enough. Maybe they don't support the football element of their business. They don't understand it. They don't support it. So that could be somewhat, that would influence some things as well in the teams. So yeah, money, it doesn't always buy stability, but it can. But then looking at Chicken Inn, from what we know and what we'd seen them doing the previous seasons, things seemed to be different this season. I won't say just Chicken Inn. I think even if we look at Ngezi as well and FC Platinum, there are teams that we know they've probably got money that they can pump into football, but I don't think it was flowing as much as it should have been.
David, you have seen this from the time that you played football. You know, if a team comes, you know, grab every good player that they can find, and you know, in the hope that they are going to do better. Why am I talking about this? Because Scotland did that. Every good player that was there from the previous season, they took, except for a few. And when mid-season came, they boasted again with seemingly good players from other teams. I know the joker they threw in, bringing in Knowledge Musona, I think it did something to their team. So does it mean from now going forward, this is a way of, if a team wants to win a league championship, this is probably the model that they can take?
I think issue about the Mari ndeyekuti you can have the best talent and you also need to have the best coach. You can bring in the best players, but if you don't bring in the best coach, Mari yenyu haishandi. That's when the owners vanenge vachitoseta team vari kwavari vachimupa coach kuti aitese anga achitambisa maplayers, but at the end of the day zita rinenge rira coach rinenge richisumuka. But ukaona pakuzochinjwa macoach now after that, then something is not right. But trend yatiri kupinda award, you also need to have the best young talent in the land. If you can't have those best young talent, which means mucharamba muchingonotora those guys that have been in football for a long time, each and every year ndo amune makungoita se makungoramba muchingodzosa.
But David, which team has won a league championship basing on young talent?
Award ukona team yeCaps ya 1996 ya, even Dynamos 1995 uchidzokera kumashure, even the Highlanders yekutora league 4 league titles here, and even Dynamos yekutora 4 league titles as well. You can do the research and check my ages and my teams, or even the Caps ya 2004 wotarisa ma age acho.
Okay, let's
zakatosiyana tati. Okay, we will do research and I'll bring it for you next week on the couch again. No, not today. I'm talking about the young talent. I'm talking about the young talent. Why not? Why not? But how can titaura a team in an average age of 26 and below, and ichitora league in Zimbabwe, and
the average age in Scotland engage. Scotland. How old is Charger? How old is Kevi? How old is Mafios? How old is Shidolo?
Which Kevi?
Kevin Moy.
Kevin is 32.
He's 32, right?
Yeah.
Charger is
25.
20. Oh, Charger is 25.
No, he's not.
Mafios is 19.
No.
Mafios is 19.
No, Charger is not 25.
He's 25. Okay, he's 26. 26, 25, not 27, not 27.
No, he's almost to my 29.
No such a just 26. I think Mafios is 19. Shidolo is 23. Zakamweza nenye ngatola league yokuti mamina Lloyd team mamina lafta chilembe ngani makore mangani
inzwa
kana mamina sala ikatumba ngani makore mangani na Hassan Matora ngani makore mangani anozakana vanadika watambe bora watamba bora vanogona bora
inzwa tati kana ndichiti average age and it's not like ndikutsvaga kuti mune players mangani ari over 26 and tikutsvaga kutarisa kuti
average zinoreva kuti makore ane vanhu vese vari patimu omadivide by 2
ayo inzwa tati
chimira ndikuudze kuti average inocalculatwa sei. If you want to check average ye 10 players unoedha makore avo vese vari 10 and then you divide by 10 and that's the average.
Chimira tati we go to God knows Murwira, Ronald Fumbidzai, and it's Kelvin Moy, Peter Mdua, and it's Mira Woya Bochway, and it's Tutora Van Vaisa, Kama Billiard, Walter Simon Machobi, Wenda Kuna Terence Tugamanja, and it's voice and knowledge watch.
Vese va banana mna 37
ah 37 atikuta
we are talking of players vane va 29 30 vatatanga uchidzoka manje kuma
ayo katikuta
okay
vese vaitamba kabhora andika na Mafios vese vaitamba bhora na Chidolo vese vaitamba bhora ana Gareth Matake vese vaitamba bhora andika saka tisaitira ngoti ava isu mazisotogara agire vana kuti Scotland was rotating their squad
ayo but
nasi because rotara zoti
ayo but ma games ukatasa ma games tadi ukatasa ma games akatambwa and nevanhu vanda mention and magames akatowanda kutodarika kuti kutaura mafios anotamba kana 10 games ever since.
All right, okay. Tati and David, we hear you. I'm sure. Yeah. I think we're going to continue. And what I've picked here, Tati says, "Hakuna wanadiki wanatamba bora."
Wanadiki wanatamba bora. Howard.
So question yangu, don't explain too much. Don't explain too much. Going forward, all right, are we going to see a team putting forward junior talent for them to win a league championship?
What they can only do, Howard, is to have and a developmental side. Yeah, vanenge vachifisha 1 or 2, because it's not like vanenge vari developmental side vese vanenge vachiuya vese vakadaro kunogona kubuda 1 or 2 and for the next 2-3 years and because munofanira kuita cycle ikoko kwacho futi kuchinya development. Remember kuti vanenge vaida kubuda kuchiuya vamwe, so mune muchitora futi vamwe kunze.
Plus I believe kuti team ukaona inoisa majuniors kumberi or young talent kumberi, they've got a plan maybe yekutora championship in the next 2 or 3 years, and then you give the coach freedom yekuti give us something that's going to give us championship in the next 3 years.
All right, so I'm going to throw it again to you because we have got about 2 minutes to go. I'm going to throw it to you. So we saw what Scotland did. Came in, brought everybody who was good on board. Mid-season, they saw something was not working. They brought in again very good players. Is this the model that we are going to see for the foreseeable future, Zimbabwe football, that's going to be giving my teams a league championship?
Definitely not, because it's not sustainable. You can only do that maybe for a season or 2 seasons. But you can't keep pumping money, which don't go tinga players every season for you to win the championship or to retain the championship. You need a sustainable plan. Moto ito development yenyu yamuri kuti mimi tukutarisira kuti yes, for the meantime let's be looking at the capabilities and the knowledge musonas, but in the next 3 years takutarisa tana mafios avandu vachatipa championship. It's not sustainable at all.
Do you agree? Next season, Hard Rock comes in, they do what Scotland did, buy everyone who's good.
I don't agree. I think we need consistency. So if you do this for 2 seasons, like she said, then maintain that and work with what you have and grow the talent in there, develop some other players that you bring in 1 or 2, like what David was saying, then that's more sustainable. Not buying Scotland, everyone,
Scotland, ito nayo model yoyo. And they've got Scotland senior team in the Premier Soccer League. They've got Ngombe in the Division 1. They've got Scotland Academy that was playing in Division 2B. And varuda tamba playoffs kutopinda mudi 1. Ukadauta sa average age. Yevanhu vao, alright, average age zinodiwa na sengu zvezvo man 1980.
If you go, and then, are you telling me it's average age Ngombe Aora? Because I can tell you the players that way Ngombe Aora.
No, I'm talking of Scotland Academy. Ngombe Aora,
but their immediate team is Ngombe Aora.
But then munhu anokwanisa kungobva kuacademy direct achitouya kusenior team because varikutotamba competitive football kudhara vafana vachona vari kuacademy and vane necessary futi yavavakira mavhila kuruwa. So I think model yavo zvayo iri sustainable yeScotland. But then bhora haritambwe next 3 seasons. Bhora rinongotambwa ipapo kana mune zvamuri kutoita mukufanira kutozviita chi ipapo kana muri kutopromota vanhu vanotosweswa kutotamba bhora because kwake ndikokuita sei ndikokukombita kwake.
But atizopisira tani situation yekuti every season tikuita former clubs ari kuya ari kungoita that same thing. 5 seasons later they are now defunct.
Tell you what, I think we're going to talk to the producer. Obviously, we just scratched the surface. There's just many things that we can talk about as we look back at the 2025 season. So probably we need a part 2 of this so that we exhaustively look at the 2025 season. But many thanks to David, Tadi, Semi, and Veronica. My name is Howard Musonza. Talk to us. We are all over social media. Talk to us about your highlights for the 2025 Kasolaga Premier Soccer League season. Who disappointed you? Who were the biggest winners? Let's keep the conversation going. But otherwise, another humdinger of a show right here on The Couch. We'll be back again next week at the same time. Stay with us right here on ZTN Prime.